some of the lessons that I've learned over my career, but it's very, very easy for teams to veer off the path away from outcomes towards output. It's very easy to veer off the path of experimentation and uncertainty and trying to nail down something that is certain, which is in many cases, look at this shiny thing that I've built. And so trying to embed that into your day-to-day check-in with the team, I think is really important.
So anyway, you've got these squads. How do you actually make sure you're building something that people actually want? So
yeah, I mean that's a big question, and it's really challenging. I think this is, making sure you're shipping value to customers is it's one of the defining aspects of whether or not we'll be successful as a business. I mean, there's like, are you well suited as a business to do that and all those stuff? So there's lots of other questions, but one of them just generally is, are you solving a core customer problem is one of the great challenges of product development. Look, our focus is, and my focus has been for a long time, I spoke to it previously, it's all about focusing on the outcome and not focusing on output. That's the key. It's very natural as human beings that we want to focus on the output and not the outcome. And one of the reasons for that is output is certain. If you apply effort, you'll have something to show for it in terms of it could be whether it's a new page that you've created, whether it's an experience enhancement thing you've done, whether it's a new feature that's available on your platform, you'll have something to show. Whether that thing matters or not, that's the question, right? And so the outcome is always way less certain. And we have a natural inclination as people to want to, shy away from that uncertainty towards the thing that's certain. And so it's, you have to be relentless in that focus on the outcome. And that outcome could be whether it's a commercial outcome that you're trying to achieve via meeting a need or a customer need itself. That's where your focus has got to be. So for me, trying to ensure that you're shipping value, it's all about focusing on the outcome. And then, if the outcome is customer related, it's the customer.
Yeah. So you sort of threw that in at the end, but it sounds like the most important thing. So what goes in the top of the funnel is a whole bunch of things. You've got opinions, you've got salespeople walking back saying, they'll come on board if you actually develop this feature. The salespeople are always dragging in bits of roadkill. They say that this is definitely the one that's going to break it's really going to, the company will break out. You've got opinions around particular things, and then you've got disciplines and customer. So how are you filling the top of the funnel, and then how are you triaging that to get to this output that's actually used by a customer?
Used by a customer, yeah, sure. So
or even valued by a customer.
Yeah. So the general approach, and I alluded to this before with, we have a strategy, we have a set of OKRs that then outlines, here's some measures we're going to try and deliver over the course of the quarter, and those measures reflect progress towards an outcome or an objective, right? What we take from there is trying to understand what are the various opportunities there are to better serve the customer in a way that's going to drive that particular key result or that. And getting an understanding of that is all about trying to get under or inside the head of the customer. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And, you want to use all the tools that you've got at your disposal. Salespeople, they are one of the tools. Yes, they'll have a lot to say that oftentimes will be focused towards a feature and a solution, and they'll tell you about the solution. I mean, one of the things is to try and step back from that and say, well, hang on, what's this solution actually trying to achieve, and infer back from that. Some of it is talking to those salespeople or those customer support people and just taking on the journey to say, hey, when you talk to your customers, next time they come up with a solution, can you ask why they want to do that, and actually try and work with your customer support team to drive better customer insights on the why for the customer as opposed to what they want. Because if you ask a customer what do you want, they'll ask for, it's a classic saying, I want a faster horse, not I want a motor vehicle. So it's about trying to use as many of the avenues that you've got to get customer insight, and that can be talking to customers, watching customers, engaging with customer support team. As I've said, you can and in fact you can do that yourself. You can, one of the things I used to do a little bit of Seek is get onto our Zendesk and start seeing what customers are saying and trying to understand what's going on for them. And again, use your salespeople. They have a lot of insight. They're talking to customers all the time. But what you need to do is you need to bring that back to trying to understand the customer's motivations, trying to understand their needs, trying to map out what their existing experience is. Really immerse yourself in what's going on with the customer before you worry about how am I going to solve that problem with some sort of solution.
Okay, so that's a discipline to actually just basically look at it through the lens. And I guess, what are you using, customer interviews for that, or?
Yeah, so there's a mix. I mean, the way Seek structured it, and the way we're structuring it at Airwallex, the framework we're using is jobs to be done. At Seek, they built out a thing called a mental model, which is a more detailed deep dive than jobs to be done into very individual tasks. And that is essentially, that mental model is essentially a shared understanding of the customer. And what is put against that mental model, the evidence that's used to construct that, customer interviews, customer support insights, experiment data, behavioural data on the platform. Like, it's basically any data point you can get about the customer is used to help build out that shared understanding of how the customer thinks, acts, their motivations, what they're trying to achieve, etc., etc.
So is a mental model an intersection of demographics / personas and job to be done? Is it?
So yeah, I mean, you could segment the mental model based on the different personas, but really it's just a more detailed view of jobs to be done. You're getting down to very discrete tasks, as opposed to a job. A job is a manifestation of multiple tasks. It's like subtasks and sub-subtasks. It's really, really granular, and it just essentially represents a shared understanding of the customer, how we understand the customer's motivations and what they're trying to achieve through in this particular task or job.